Hi, I'm Mary Mammoliti. The east coast of Canada is known for its luscious fish and seafood. It's some of the best in the world. Today, we're taking some fresh Atlantic haddock and we're transforming it into Mexican-style tacos. It's a food fiesta you are not going to want to miss. I love the sizzle of butter melting in a pan, the smell of cinnamon while I'm baking. I need to touch food while it's cooking and, of course, taste it, even if I can't see it very well. To me, cooking should be fun. That's why I've invited chefs from across Canada who feel the same way I do to cook with me, virtually. Welcome to Dish with Mary. Joining us from Nova Scotia is the creator of one of Canada's most popular food blogs, the East Coast Kitchen, Andy Hay. Every week, legions of fans tune in to see what Andy Hay is cooking up in his Halifax-based East Coast Kitchen.
How are we doing, folks? Come on in, come on in. Welcome to the kitchen, the East Coast Kitchen.
With his high-energy personality and easy-to-follow recipes, Andy has earned himself a reputation as a must-follow Instagram food influencer. From his iconic orange and white kitchen, Andy is always dreaming up dishes that are affordable, accessible, and delicious. Andy Hay makes cooking easy and fun and has proven that following your passion is the key to success. Hey, Andy.
Hey there, how we doing?
I am fantastic. How are you?
I am so good and so excited to be here with you today.
Okay, feelings mutual. I want to get right into it. I'm so excited about this. I want to get right into it. So today we're making fish tacos.
Let's do it.
Okay, let's start. We've got a whole bunch of ingredients in front of us.
Yeah.
They're all pre-measured out, but I want to start with the fish.
Yes.
What type of fish are we using today?
So in Nova Scotia, our go-to white fish is haddock. So that's what we're going to be using today, but really any white fish will work absolutely perfectly.
And for all of you at home that want to follow along, make this recipe, you can always go over to our website for the full recipe at AMI.ca/dish-recipes. Okay, where do we begin? Walk me through this.
So first thing what you're going to want to do was cut the fish into about 4-inch by 2-inch strips. Get them nice and neat.
Yeah.
Now what I have in front of me is we're going to have 3 bowls. We're going to have one that has flour. We're gonna have one that we're gonna crack a couple eggs into, and then the final one is some panko crumbs. I'm using whole wheat here. They're just a lovely texture ingredient that gives it a beautiful crunch. Okay, this is gonna be the first step. We're gonna drop that fish into the flour, but before we do that, let's just lightly season it. So I've got some flour in a bowl here, but what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take a good pinch of salt and just put that into the flour. And then I'm also gonna take a nice pinch of black pepper. If you wanted to add in some garlic powder or smoked paprika, you can really get creative with the seasoning here based on kind of what flavors you really like.
Oh yeah, for sure.
The next move, what we should do, Mary, is well, let's crack those eggs into that bowl and then give that a whisk as well.
Get them all incorporated.
So I would say you can grab a piece of fish.
Yeah.
And we're gonna drop that directly into the flour as a starting point and make sure it gets totally covered.
Okay.
This is a crucial step that you can't miss this because if you try to put just the bare fish into the egg will just run right off the fish. So the flour is super important.
So this acts like the glue.
Exactly. And then make sure you shake off the excess flour. And now, you guessed it, into the egg. So drop that in and make sure it gets totally covered. And you'll see the flour almost like grabs onto that egg, and then again, just make sure the excess egg drips off. And then last step, into the panko. And so that's done. And then I'm gonna lay that directly onto my rack.
I'm doing mine on my cutting board here.
Smart move, love that,
Okay.
love that.
That's another thing, you chose panko.
Yeah, I like it for the texture part. I find that that's such a big part of cooking and eating is texture. And I find the panko gives it a really nice crunch. All right, that's looking good here.
What I love about this recipe as well is that you can use your hands to mix everything. You don't need any special utensils, got your hands.
What I love about this recipe too is that it's so easy to pull together. This is probably the most involved component of it, but a lot of the recipes that I do, I'm trying to figure out like, okay, I've got 2 young kids. I'm trying to figure out how can I feed our family relatively quickly on a weeknight. That's stuff that's delicious and also pretty healthy. So this is a recipe that it really can come together in about 15, 20 minutes, no problem.
So we've got our fish ready to go into our pan. We've got some oil coating the bottom of it. It's just a light coating of oil, am I right?
That's right, yeah, you just want a couple just to cover the bottom of the pan.
What type of oil are we using in this pan?
So you want to use a low smoke point oil here. This is crucial. You'll smoke out your whole kitchen. So I like to use canola oil, avocado seed, or vegetable oil are the ones that I usually stick to.
Okay. I wanna test my pan. So I usually use a piece of my fish and I just kind of tap the bottom of the pan and I kind of listen for that sizzle. That'll let me know if it's hot enough. Feels it. When I place my hand over top the pan, it feels warm enough. Oh, here we go.
There it is.
Yep, we're good. There's the sizzle.
So that's looking great.
Something about that sizzle, that's so satisfying.
It's one of my favorite parts of cooking. So the thing with fish, it doesn't take long to cook. Like we're only gonna need probably maybe a minute and a half each side. You want the panko to turn a beautiful, deep golden brown.
Okay, so I've just got a spatula. I'm just gonna flip mine because I think we're ready on mine here.
And you really want to hear that consistent bubble. If you start losing that sound of the bubble, it means that the temperature has probably dropped too much. So we want to bring that temperature up a little bit higher.
Oh, great tip. Okay, so I've got my 4 pieces of haddock flipped. We've got a beautiful golden color on my side, getting that nice crisp, that toastiness to it.
Beautiful. But you're going to want to make sure that you have some paper towel or a cooling rack for when the fish comes out of the frying pan. We want to give it a second to drain off that excess oil, and then we'll season it immediately with some salt.
Okay, so I'm going to start taking my fish sticks off and placing them onto my paper-lined plate. Again, I mean, you can use tongs at home. I'm just kind of pushing it on with my finger because, like my husband says, I have no fingerprints left.
It's all part of it. Hey, those are looking beautiful. And while it's hot, make sure that we get some salt on there. While the pores of the fish are still open, you want to make sure you get that salt so that it absorbs in.
Okay, done. So we've finished frying our fish, and now we're getting ready to make this colorful, delicious mango slaw that's going to be added to our taco. So let's start with some of the ingredients that are in front of us. We've got this beautiful purple cabbage.
Yeah, we got the beautiful purple cabbage, which is the base of everything here. And then we have sweetness coming from the mango. I love sweet and salty combinations. I find them just so exciting. So those two are gonna make up the bulk of this slaw. There's a few other things we can toss in there. Some herbs to brighten things up, a little bit of citrus to kind of give us a little bit of bite. But that's really it. It's very easy to toss together.
Perfect, okay. So I've got my large bowl in front of me.
Yep. Let's do this. So the first thing I'm going to toss in is that purple cabbage into the bowl.
Thinly sliced our cabbage, right?
Yeah, I think a lot of the ingredients here, when you're making a slaw, I really like trying to make those slices as thin as possible. Same with the mango itself or the onions that we're using, just slice as thin as possible. So next up, I'm going to toss in the mango. So I just peeled the mango, I julienned it. All you need to do here is just slice it as thin as you can and just pop that in there. So some fun colors popping out there, which is always very exciting.
Okay, I'm just scraping mine right out of the bowl because I don't want to leave any of that behind.
No, absolutely not. And now I'm gonna use herbs. I love cooking with fresh herbs. It gives you like a high note in the cooking.
Yep.
So I know you're not a big cilantro fan.
I'm not. I'm sorry to all the cilantro lovers.
There's a strong contingent of people that don't like it, but I'm a big cilantro guy. So I'm gonna add in some cilantro, and then I'm also gonna add in some green onion. But you can add in basil, Thai basil, parsley, whatever you have on hand. It's just gonna give that bright freshness that we're looking for.
Okay, so I'm actually just gonna take a couple of leaves of my Thai basil that I have, and I'll just give it a quick chop here.
Beautiful.
Okay.
So from there, I thinly sliced some red onion.
Yep.
And now we're down to seasoning. So again, not a complicated thing. This comes together very quickly. Always add in a little bit of salt. And then I've got some freshly cracked black pepper that I'll pop in there as well. Before we add in the mayo, I love cooking with citrus, all parts of it, whether it's the juice or the actual zest, just to give it a little zing. So I'm gonna add in about probably the zest of 1 lime over the top, and I just find this gives a beautiful freshness to it.
Now I've gone ahead and I've zested mine ahead of time, so I'm just gonna add mine in. But you're getting that citrusy from it, right?
It gives you that citrus flavor without adding additional liquid into it. I might add in a little squirt of lime. It's not necessary, but I just add a little bit extra tartness. So I'll add in About the juice of half a lime there.
That's what I did. We got the juice of half a lime.
And then the last piece here, again, if you didn't want to, I'm going to add in some mayo. It gives a creaminess to the whole thing. But if you didn't want to add mayo, you could add yogurt would be great. You could add some oil. You can add more citrus juice. But I like the creaminess that's going to come here from that mayo. So I'm going to add in about a 1/4 cup of that mayo. And then we'll just give that a mix.
Now, I've also added, I didn't have mayo on hand once, and I did a little more of a vinaigrette. Not a vinaigrette,
lovely.
but I added vinegar to give that little tartness to it.
Love that.
But I do love the creaminess of the mayo.
Big time. It's a great texture play when you've got the crunchy panko and then the creaminess coming from the slaw is a good combination there.
Yeah, yeah.
I like giving this a taste to see where it's at, and then we can adjust. If it needs more salt, pepper, acid,
Yeah.
you'll never know unless you taste it.
Okay, I'm giving it a taste. That lime, it's subtle, but it's got that little, it cuts right through the mayo.
Yeah.
So you're getting that balanced.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. I am with you.
We've done all the major work. We are in the clear now. We've got people that might want to eat soon. So we've got the slaw ready. We've got the fish directly in front of us. And all we need is corn tortillas. So now we can start assembling these tacos.
Okay, so I have my corn tortilla, and I'm gonna actually just fill it in my hand. It's a little easier for me to work with this way.
So with this, you can just build it. I gave my fish a little bit of a slice just to make it a little bit more convenient to fit in there. Yours might be a little thinner, so you might not need to do it. So I'd say you can add that on directly into the tortilla. So now we can just load on the the slaw onto the actual fish itself. And then I take the big scoop of the slaw directly on.
Okay.
And then I always as I said, I love citrus. I put so much on all my food. When I think tacos, I think group of people sitting around, people making their own tacos. I find just having some fresh lime wedges close by is always fun.
Yeah.
But you can give that a little bit of squirt if you like, right there.
I've got my 3 tacos done, but we're not done yet. We still need to make a special drink to pair with these delicious tacos. But before we do that, when we come back, we're gonna dish with Andy, so don't go anywhere. Stay tuned for more Dish with Mary. We now return to Dish with Mary. Welcome back. As promised, it's time to dish with Andy Hay. Andy,
Mary.
I need to know, everyone needs to know, where did your passion for cooking come from?
I feel like it started off from a passion of eating. Like I feel like a lot of good cooks, that's where it came from. I loved to eat as a young man. I was obsessed with it. And then my wife and I ended up traveling to Southeast Asia, backpacking. I had just quit a job that I wasn't really that into. And I remember walking through the streets of Bangkok and seeing all the street food. And the smells and the taste were fantastic, but it was actually like the physical act of cooking and seeing the fire and the flames and the woks going that really got me so excited about the idea of cooking. And then coming home, I had these cravings for food that I couldn't get locally. So I just had to teach myself, and that's kind of how I fell in love with the act of cooking.
But cooking wasn't your first choice, wasn't your first career choice, was it?
No, this is career number 2 or 3 for me. I started off in social media. So I worked in tech and social media and marketing, had done that for the better part of 10 years. But then towards the latter part of that, the excitement and the idea of actually cooking for a career was so strong that I really had no idea what it was going to look like. But I knew I had to at least try. So this is act number 2 for me, is taking on the world of food.
And it's funny, I don't know if you're like me, but I kind of say I'm the happiest now that I'm around food all the time.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, I'm the exact same.
Now, speaking of social media,
yes.
You are on social media. You have thousands of followers. Fantastic videos, love your videos.
Thank you.
And I'm curious because like myself, sometimes I find it difficult to keep things fresh, to keep it inspiring. How do you manage that? How do you deal with that?
I think it comes from, I really do genuinely love food. I love cooking. And I actually, since entering into the world of creating videos and trying to inspire Canadians to cook more, that gets me fired up. I get messages from people who are being like, oh, I tried this recipe and I loved it. Or I get some people that are like, my teenage son never went into the kitchen, never cooked until he saw your videos, and now he's cooking at home. So hearing people cooking these recipes gets me so fired up that's what energizes me. Even on the other side, like, because I was in the world of tech, I still like that. I like marketing, I like branding. So I find the intersection that I play in gets me really excited. I'm running my own business, I'm creating branding or content that I really love, but at the end of the day, I'm just making delicious things that I get to eat. So it keeps me inspired and just keeps me trying to find new delicious dishes to make.
You also are very passionate about the environment and about food waste. Tell me a little more about that.
Yeah, so this is something that's kind of come to me recently after I started reading some stats around how damaging food that is just thrown away is to the actual environment, beyond just being wasteful. Like, I hate the idea of wasting food. There's people everywhere in every community that don't have enough to eat, and many of us throw away perfectly good food. So that bugs me. But when I started seeing the actual, this is just like a stat I read, was 8% of global CO2 emissions are caused by food that's lost or thrown away.
Wow.
And 61% of that is actually caused by households. So a lot of us are like, oh, I can't do anything. That's grocery stores or restaurants. When we really can. We really can do a lot. And I've been noticing myself, like, trying to use things that maybe the expiration date was 2 days ago, or maybe the tomato has a little bit of a little piece you can cut off. But I think we all need to get better at eating food that might not be perfect, but still tastes perfectly fine, because it's just wasteful and it's harmful for the environment. And I know that we're all trying to find ways to be better, and this is an easy way for us to have an impact. So it's something that I'm trying to be better at. I'm not perfect, but I'm trying to get better.
You make the East Coast of Canada proud, Andy.
Thank you.
But you can't have tacos without margaritas. So when we come back, we're gonna finish this dish in the most spectacular way. So don't go anywhere. Stay tuned for more Dish with Mary. We now return to Dish with Mary. So our tacos are assembled. Now it's time to make our margaritas.
Let's do this. Very exciting. Okay, so we've cooked this long, Mary. You know that I love citrus. I put it in absolutely everything. So we're gonna be making a margarita mocktail, a little bit of a spicy margarita mocktail here. It's dead simple to throw together. So what I'm gonna do is I have some lime wedges. So I'm just gonna rim the outside edge of this mason jar with a little bit of fresh lime juice. And then I'm gonna dip it into some salt that I have in a bowl here.
I'm dipping my smaller cups into the salt.
Perfect. So now what I have here is I have a larger jar that I have some ice in there. So what we're gonna do here is we're gonna play with a lot of citrus flavors. So in front of me I have 2 limes, so we're gonna add in to the jar the juice of 2 limes. Let's start there.
Okay. So I've gone ahead and pre-squeezed mine. Oh, I see you're gonna use a hand-pressed juicer.
Makes things a little bit easier to do.
And it's a mocktail, so we could have it any time of the day.
That's right, it could be for brunch. A great summertime meal here. All right, and then from there what we'll do is we'll add in the juice of a lemon. So you can add in some lemon juice. So we're gonna have the lime juice, a little bit of lemon juice. So lots of citrus at play, which you know I love. It's bright, it's fresh. The smell of it alone is so good.
It smells so fresh.
And then we're also gonna add in some orange juice as well here. And then what we'll also do here is just to give it a little bit of heat, a little bit of complexity, I'm gonna give a little slice of jalapeno.
Ooh, yes.
So I'm just gonna drop that directly in. We'll garnish with some jalapeno too, but I just like adding that in. Hopefully it gets a little bit of subtle spice in there. That's always fun. Okay, I'm just gonna finish squeezing in the rest of that orange. Oh, smell that. That's a fun smell. There's beautiful colors there. So now I'm gonna add in a little bit of seltzer water. You can add club soda, just bubbly water in general, just to give it a little bit of a bite. If you want to add a little bit of sweetness, I've got a little bit of agave nectar, which I love to cook with because it just blends very well. You could also use maple syrup here, or you can completely omit it if you don't want to add any sweetness. If you like that citrus bite, you can leave as is.
A little agave.
Just a touch of agave. Oh yeah, take a big whiff of that one. That's lovely. Beautiful smell on that. Okay, I'm gonna pop on the top here and just give it a little bit of a swirl around. Let those juices all get together, maybe some of that jalapeno flavor, get around, mix things up a little bit, get that agave syrup working its way through.
I feel like we need a little music right now.
Oh, I agree. Cue the music. Okay, beautiful. That's it. Now we can pour them directly in. We can then garnish with a little bit of jalapeno, some fresh lime.
This is gonna go right into our salt rim glasses, right?
Absolutely, directly in. And then you can add a little wedge of lime onto the side of the cup. And then I like to finish with just dropping one of the thinly sliced jalapeno. I'd say try to avoid any of the seeds getting in there. It'll be extra spicy. Directly in there.
It's just, again, it's layering the flavors. It's adding that extra layer of flavor.
That's it.
The time has finally come. We're getting ready to taste everything. Getting ready. I want to taste it already.
Me too.
So let's dig in. And we got my taco. Now, there's nothing delicate about this, right?
Just go for it.
Oh,
Yum.
it's so good.
Sunshine, a taco, good friends, hanging out.
This is like a party in your mouth.
That's exactly what we were going for.
This is delicious. I love the tanginess, that citrus little twist in there, the crunch from the panko on that fish, the brightness from the slaw, the mango, that little touch of sweetness, corn tortilla, fantastic. Okay, but I'm dying to try this margarita.
Me too. Cheers, let's try it.
Cheers.
It was lovely cooking with you.
Lovely cooking with you.
That's fun.
This has been so much fun. I absolutely
thank you
love it.
so
Had
much.
a blast.
Me too.
And right, forget about Taco Tuesday. I'm making these every night of the week.
That's what I'm talking about.
So good. For all of today's recipes, you can visit our website at ami.ca/dish-recipes. Host, Mary Mammoliti. Executive producer, Michelle Dudas. Producer, Anna Padra-Barrick. Associate producer and editor, Manuel Grados Andrade. Director of photography, Toronto, Brian Roy. Director of photography, Halifax, Charlie Benoit. Camera assistant, Toronto, Gavin Lee. Sound recordist, Toronto, Mike Monson. Sound recordist, Halifax, Scott Ferguson. Production assistant, Miriam Bakhtiar. Food stylist, Joyce Singh. Media accessibility specialist, Ron Rickford. Audio post, Mike Monson. Graphics, Mike Smith. President and CEO, David Arrington. Copyright 2022, Accessible Media, Inc.